All right,
But
let's take
anyways,
a quick look. I think we already looked at Regi, right? I mean, if we've decided that it's renewable
slightly.
energy,
They're doing a shit job. That's why the stock is falling.
Hamed
I don't even
swears
know the
by it.
company, but just by judging the stock and that they're renewable energy, I mean, again, I could be wrong. I don't know this company. I don't know exactly what they do. But what I'm looking at is it's a process industry. Chemicals is their specialty, and it's for renewable energy. And honestly, the last couple of quarters have been dog shit from what I'm looking at on Tradingview right now. And I just feel as if a company is doing something to improve the carbon footprint to make it, less of an impact, they really should be having a better, stock value. The only thing I think that could impact it if they were actually doing a good job is if that they were invested in a certain additional type of resource that they need. And that, for instance, fell to where they could no longer get it. Like for instance, the cost of lumber. It's astronomical in a lot of places right now because apparently it's not available. But yet videos keep coming out where they're like, no, they have it. They have it stockpiled at their warehouses. I know because I go and pick it up and drop it off for them. They're just not sending it out.
So something happened. So, okay. They're pretty healthy as a company. Their cash flow is gone through some stuff, but in general, they look pretty healthy. But the most recent news, is this the most recent news I hear? Let me double check here. As of 10 o'clock this morning, Glancy, Prongay, and Murray, like Glengarry Glen Ross, Glancy, Prongay, and Murray, LLP, reminds investors of looming deadline in the class action lawsuit against Renewable Energy Group, Inc., Regi.
Oh, wow.
April 23rd, 2021. Globe
and...
Newswire. Oh, and then before that, the Louisiana Attorney General. Awesome. Okay, so there's.
It's funny though. Is it even with that reminder coming out today? It's gone up by $1. The stock went up. I mean, it's not nearly as high, obviously, but still, it went up from 57.58 to 58.64. So I mean that.
It dropped though. I mean, it was at it did take a bit of a dive.
Yeah, because yesterday on the 22nd, it was over 60.
Yeah. So it dropped about $2. And then it dropped even worse. It dropped all the way down to 56 and then recouped and landed at 58. So yeah, I mean it held it pretty good, I'd have to say in low volume. So even with that news, it was like, I'm just going to keep doing the same thing we were already doing. We don't care.
Now, what was the news on this company right below that? Because I was reading something that you had pulled up there that was about the Louisiana Attorney General.
Reminds investors with losses in excess of $100,000. Yeah, so same kind of thing. It's an alert by the Louisiana Attorney General is basically like, hey, remember
on the 21st still though.
If you got more than $100,000 in losses, there's a deadline for the class action lawsuit.
So then, if we go a little bit further back, just a quick skim through, are all of these? Yeah, okay. So yeah, the reminder back on 19th is about the lawsuit. Like the reminder on the 17th is about the lawsuit. Like
holy shit, yeah, it's all.
This is why it dropped. So again. Yes, the company was doing something.
Okay, so that's what Hamed is seeing. That's what he's seeing. It's over. The deadline's coming up today, right, or whenever. I don't want to give wrong information to some poor schmuck who lost a bunch of money with these guys somehow. But deadline's coming up, and you got a chance to make some money with Regi. Good old Regi, man.
Yeah, here's the money you're going to make. They're going to pay out this lawsuit. The stock's going to plummet a little bit more. Then it's going to be the opportunity to buy it because outside of this lawsuit, it seems like a pretty successful company. So if it has the ability to rebound, could make decent money. However, I would recommend looking into the lawsuit specifically to see if there was anything that involved, like loss of human life or something. Because I mean, there's not really going to be a good way to rebound from that. I mean, they're not an airliner; they can't just drop a few planes and not find them and then be like, "Sorry guys, nobody's going to use this for travel." Bullshit.
I don't
People
know.
still go on planes, but
I don't know. Do I gotta bring up the deli again?
We could
With the mafioso.
I
Yeah,
mean,
maybe there's loss of life. I mean, excess of $100,000 in losses. That's a heavy hit for some people. So whatever happened, and I don't feel like reading a bunch of nonsense to find out. But maybe I may revisit this. I may look into that a little bit further and see, because let's say for instance, lawsuit occurs somewhere around February 10th.
Sorry to interrupt you. The market capitalization on this is around $2.65 billion. So even $100,000 lawsuit, they're fine.
Jeez. Well, no, it's each person that is in the class action lawsuit has 100,000. So yeah, it's still.
So that they might not be fine.
It's probably still not horrible. I mean,
but it could be close to $1 million, which
it's probably over that.
Probably, but at the same time, that depends upon, is this because they were, improperly getting rid of, old resources and not actually, converting them? And was it harming like an apartment complex? Was it harming like a local park where, just as an example? So I mean,
probably lied on this fourth quarter financial is probably what happened. They probably lied, said they had something in the works that they didn't have, caused people to buy stock when it wasn't really justified to go up. Let's see, earnings call. R Cruz announces investigation of Renewable Energy Group Inc. on behalf of the investors. If you're a shareholder who suffered a loss, click here to participate. On February 21st or 25th, 2021, after the market closed, Renewable Energy issued a press release announcing its fourth quarter and full year 2020 financial results. Therein, the company revealed that it would restate $38.2 million in cumulative revenue by January 2018 through September 30th, 2020, because Renewable Energy was not the proper claimant for certain BTC Bitcoin biodiesel mixture excise tax credits. So they said that they were going to get some tax credits, didn't get it. Payments on biodiesel, it's sold between January 1st, 2017 on September 30th, 2020. Okay, so there's these excise tax credits for biodiesel, and they're like, yeah, we were a part of that for like a whole bunch of it, but it wasn't them, it was their vendors or someone else they're involved with that gets the tax credit, and they don't get the tax credit, but they insinuated, it sounds that they did. People made
either
financial
that or they had a really shitty accountant and they're no longer with the company now.
That probably happens later. I'm sure the CFO leaves is another when it continues on its decline. They reached an agreement with the IRS on $40.5 million assessment, excluding interest, to correct these claims. On this news, the company's share price fell sharply during the after hours trading. Oh, rough too, because after hours trading, a lot of people aren't trading. They're just, looking at it like, oh. Follow us on Twitter. If you purchased this during that time, you could sue Frank R. Cruz of the law offices of Frank R. Cruz. Okay. Anyways, yeah. So there's that. So yeah, so I'm looking at what Hamed's thinking here, and I need to do a little bit more research into Hamed and make sure, or Hamed, or however you say his name, Mr. Corsan, and see if he's the real deal. I don't think he is, but I think he's needing a win. Oh, jeez,
he needs a win.
Yeah.
I mean, everyone needs a win, but I mean,
yeah, but I think his numbers didn't look too good. What is this? 57% success rate? Like I'm thinking if I'm at BWS, I'm looking over at Hamed here, and I'm like, hey, bro, you better get your chips up. You better make some good calls, because right now, I might as well flip a coin. You know, how much is Hamed making over there to be a financial, he's a Wall Street analyst? 57%? Come on, man.
I mean, yeah, but if you're looking at the other ones that we saw the other day when we were looking at this, they had a 50% success rate as well. I mean, realistically, I don't think there's been one person that we have looked up that's had more than a 70% success rate. And
Oh, no,
if we
there's some
do
good
see
ones.
them, I mean, there could be some good ones, but how are they getting that success rate compared to everyone else, especially if the average is below 50?
78, 79, 79, 78, 83, 80, 78,
All
80.
I'm getting at is insider information. That's all you're
Yeah,
telling
no, it
me.
probably is. Yeah, for sure. I mean, to some degree or another. And it's not just it's insider information. It's hitting the pavement. It's making phone calls. I mean, they're doing the things that an analyst is supposed to do. And part of that is technically it's all inside information to some degree
It's
or another.
doing the work.
Yeah, he's calling up. He's calling up Reggie and going, "Hey, what's the deal? Are you guys going under? Is this going to put you out of business? Because I'm about to lose my fucking job here, bro. Give me a win. Come on, let me know." And I feel like what he's thinking here is that this news breaks, right? It's at 1:13. It drops on the news, and it's dropped ever since. And now the final is done. The final, the lawsuit isn't over, but like it's the last opportunity for people to get
Okay.
involved. So the company's been able to budget and predict how much they're going to lose if they lose, and if they don't lose, which I'm sure they will, not lose all that money. And if they do lose, they know how much they're going to lose. And so it should be nothing but net from here, right? You're looking
I
at,
mean, I don't know because if you go back to his screen where he specifies buy, is he specifying to buy it back when it was at around $73 a share?
yeah, but he was right. This is before the lawsuit. So it looks like he already believed in this company, right? He believed in it at 85 or so, and it went up. He called it right around January 8th or something. Let's see.
I really wish on this review thing if that it would show if these analysts have stock in these specific companies.
I don't I don't know if they might. I don't know if they do or not. I don't know what the legality is of that. And the company
Yeah, I
that
don't know
they
either.
work
But
for, BWS, is probably there's definitely associated in, and I would assume yes, they do. Like he's an analyst working at a company going, this is a win. There's a trader in that company going, okay, Ahmed, let's run with it. And he's a portfolio manager and he takes a 50 mil or whatever he's got, a percentage of his portfolio that he's managing, and he tosses it in there and goes, I'm going to run with Ahmed on this, and God, I don't get screwed again. But he
and
needs a
then now
win.
he's in
So,
Ahmed's office and he's like, "You mother!" No.
well, he probably was after that, and he's like, "Hey, bro, how am I supposed to know these guys lied on that?" And be like, "Well, because you're the analyst, so maybe you should look that up." I don't know, but then it falls. So he's banking, I'm assuming, on the fact that this thing, I mean, it's got a long way to go back, right? I
It
mean,
does. Like
58.
it dropped over 50% essentially.
And it doesn't mean it's going to get all the way back there, and it doesn't mean it's going to get back there in that timeline, but I feel like, and this is what I said when I first saw him on the other one we were looking at, and that's that I feel like he needs a win, and so he's looking at some stuff that's kind of I don't want to call it a no-brainer, but I don't know, I like it. I'm going to look more into it because it's not, I don't like the chart. Like normally I'd look at that and say, game over, bitches.
What's the Mac Daddy show?
The Mac Daddy says it's time to go down. But
Then
unless there's a catalyst, and technically
okay,
there's two
there's
catalysts.
already
There's the end
yeah.
of the class action lawsuit cutoff, right, is occurring, and then they have earnings on May 3rd. So in a couple weeks they'll have earnings.
So then realistically, you would basically have to wait and see what this lawsuit produces, like how much they're paying out, and attempt to justify, okay, if they're going to pay $23 million out of this lawsuit, but they're profiting
43.
40 million or 43, so that they're still making a profit of at least 20 million, it potentially could still see a rise after the fact. However, it definitely would be a risk, because if there is no gain and it just loses its ass based off of this lawsuit, which, I mean, if it's a class action lawsuit, we should be able to see, how many people have already registered for it and whatnot online, to get a good idea in reference to, how many potential payouts are going to be associated with this. Which, I mean, that's obviously the analyst's job, anyways, if they're going to recommend that you want to buy it, but still, if it's something you're going to look at yourself and use, your money rather than someone else's, then it's probably something to definitely look at and take into consideration.
Yeah, for sure. There's I mean, normally I honestly on a lot of stuff I don't care too much. I won't look into because I'm not going to live with this thing forever. And if I get into this, it's going to be, I'm going to watch probably the next 2 days and see if I start seeing red and how high that red goes on the Mac Daddy. See if people start selling off, which they probably will. I'll probably try and catch it at the height of the sell-off, maybe the 29th. Oh, wait a minute. And
that would be right before the announcement of the new
right before.
quarter.
Yep, right before earnings.
I mean, it could be positive or negative at that point.
Yep.
So it's a gamble.
It's a gamble, and I'd probably sell before earnings. I'd probably sell the day of the earnings. Would be.
Realistically, you might make $5 to $10. You might lose $5 to $10.
Maybe. And then, based off of how that trade goes, I may then get in based off of earnings afterward, or at least adjust my position. Let's say that I may take a little bit off, switch it around. I got to look into it more.
Probably invest in the deli.
And yeah, the deli's actually becoming extremely tempting, honestly. Some of its moves, I'm looking at that deli and I'm like, oh my God. But if this thing I don't think it's going to get back to the height, but I mean.
I would have more faith in this than the deli.
Well, here's it rides this 65 or whatever. 65, I think is the dark yellow, 65-day moving average. It tends to stay above it until even after. It took a while for it to get back below that after the lawsuit. And then it finally fell below, and it's been below for a little while. So it should cross it. So I feel fairly confident that within a reasonable amount of time, 71.
But even after the announcement of the lawsuit, they still kept climbing.
What day was the lawsuit?
I believe when we were reading the article, it was like late 2020 when it was being announced, because that's when they were correcting it.
Pretty sure it was 20.
No, because I think it was like December, November or something.
February. See, investor alert. Nope. So happened. Here we go. Yep. February 25th. It announced at least this. The law offices of Frank R Cruz announced on February 25th.
Okay, of this year.
Yeah, 20.
Okay.
So it was already falling, and then it took a dive. That's when it crossed that average rate. It's a risky one.
I mean, just on the 25th alone, it dropped. It looks like about $10.
It's probably not risky over 12 months, and that's what Hamed's thinking. He's like, whatever, I'm betting this thing's going to go up in 12 months, sure.
And again, it's a very good possibility because it's a renewable, energy resource company, which, not being political, I mean, current administration, they're going to be pushing for renewable resources.
For sure.
So yes, that into consideration, and the fact that this is a renewable energy fruit incorporated, If you have the time to not touch the money and wait it out, it could be. Absolutely. Because depending upon what the reportings are, as well as with this lawsuit here in the next, like, what is it, 2 weeks? It either could be a really great time to buy, or it could have been a real bad time to invest.
Yeah, that's true. I don't think it's gonna be a heavy crash. It's just a matter of if it's gonna play around and take forever. You know, I don't think it's gonna keep selling off. I mean, it should though, based off of the Mac Daddy, it is looking at selling off at some point. However, if this plays well, it shouldn't start selling off until the 17th, but it could start selling off now. It could start selling off tomorrow, and that's what I'd hope for a couple of days of it selling off. So